Move on to the next question. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Jenny. I'm a sophomore, and this is for all three of you. Can you say in one sentence or less what... you know what I mean. Can you say why America is the greatest country in the world?
Diversity and opportunity.
Lewis?
Freedom and freedom. So let's keep it that way.
Will?
The New York Jets.
No, I'm going to hold you to an answer on that. What makes America the greatest country in the world?
Well, Lewis and Sharon said it. Diversity and opportunity and freedom and freedom. You don't look satisfied.
I want a human moment from you. What about the people? Why is America
Not the greatest country in the world, Professor. That's my answer.
You're saying...
Yes.
Let's talk about...
Fine. Sharon, the NEA is a loser. Yeah, it accounts for a penny out of her paycheck, but he gets to hit you with it anytime he wants. It doesn't cost money. It costs votes. It costs airtime and column inches. You know why people don't like liberals? Because they lose. If liberals are so fucking smart, how come they lose so goddamn always? Hey. And with a straight face, you're gonna tell students that America is so star-spangled awesome that we're the only ones in the world who have freedom? Canada has freedom. Japan has freedom. The UK, France, Italy, Germany, Spain, Australia, Belgium has freedom. So 207 sovereign states in the world, like 180 of them have freedom.
All right.
And yeah, you, sorority girl, just in case you accidentally wander into a voting booth one day, there's some things you should know. And one of them is, there is absolutely no evidence to support the statement that we're the greatest country in the world. We're 7th in literacy, 27th in math, 22nd in science, 49th in life expectancy, 178th in infant mortality, 3rd in median household income, number 4 in labor force, and number 4 in exports. We lead the world in only 3 categories: number of incarcerated citizens per capita, number of adults who believe angels are real, and defense spending, where we spend more than the next 26 countries combined, 25 of whom are allies. Now, none of this is the fault of a 20-year-old college student, but you nonetheless are, without a doubt, a member of the worst generation ever. So when you ask what makes us the greatest country in the world, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Those weapons of mass destruction got to be somewhere.
I don't see anything over here. It looks all clear to me.
Nope, no weapons over there.
Yeah, it might be some.
Maybe under here.
I think I found some. It's a detonator. Wait a minute. This isn't no detonator. This is the remote to my camera lights.
WMDs. Wherefore are those damn WMDs? Hello and welcome again to another show, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host from coast to coast, Mad Sherman, and you are watching One Man's Worldview. Now, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and most of all, share it with your family and your friends. It will surely help a brother out. Today, I would like to talk about corporate media and the deep state. Now, what I have gathered, or what is my synopsis about all of this, is that the fact that corporate media are the stenographers for the CIA and the deep state. Yeah, because 9 times out of 10, they never tell you the truth, not the whole truth. And that's where the word propaganda plays into. So to start off this show, we're going to get us a clear understanding exactly what propaganda is. So with that said, let me share my screen. All right, the definition for propaganda read as follows. Propaganda is communication that is primarily used to influence an audience and further an agenda, which may not be objective. It may be selective, presenting facts to encourage a particular synthesis or perception, or using loaded language to produce an emotional, then rather a rational response to the information that is being presented. Propaganda can be found in the news and in journalism, government, advertisement, entertainment, education, and even activism, and is often associated with the materials which is prepared by governments as part of war efforts, political campaigns, health campaigns, revolutionaries, big businesses, ultra-religious organizations, the media, and certain individuals such as soapboxers. So, what that tells me is that most of the time, corporate media is just gaslighting you. Yeah, they might present certain facts, dates, times, location, but they're never gonna frame it in the way that is objective. They only frame it the way that it fits their narrative. So let me come out of here, stop sharing my screen. Yeah. The main thing about corporate media is that everything that they say, you have to take it with a grain of salt. Ever since this conflict between Russia and Ukraine started, there's been more propaganda than I ever seen in my whole entire life. And I've been here a while. I'm 49 years old, just turned 49. And I have looked at this thing a very long time. There's some more information that I was missing from the last video. You know, I kind of failed to mention the last time that there was a coup d'etat in 2014. I meant to say that, but it kind of slipped my mind from all the other information overload that I have gotten. But yeah, there was a coup d'etat in 2014, backed and led by the United States. And who did the United States back? Neo-Nazis of the Azov Battalion. You see, these people, they penetrated the military and the government. So you got a whole entire government under the influence of Nazis. Now, where they do that at? And like I told you last time, the United States work with anybody, anything to secure the ends and means of the government's agenda. And one of those agendas, like I told you last time, is a new world order. But I'm gonna tell you, the government doesn't care about none of us, nobody in the world but themselves. It's called greed, selfishness, self-righteousness. And I'm gonna show you what I mean. So I'm gonna play this next video. It's an Irish Parliament setting. Miss Daly, she is the one that's speaking in this video. And every video that I play will be for fair use and educational reasons. So with that said, let me share my screen. All right. This is a video of Miss Claire Daly. She is a member of the European Parliament. She's Irish. and she's finna lay down some truth for you. So let's play the video.
There's no doubt about it, we're living in times of catastrophic crisis where the lives of innocent civilians are sacrificed in the wars of their masters. Yes, in Ukraine, but not only. Since the last plenary, tens of thousands of Afghani citizens have been forced to flee in search of food and safety. 5 million children face famine, an agonising and painful death.
And see, that's one of the things that corporate media will not mention or amplify. Joe Biden had put such strong sanctions on Afghanistan that there's about to be a famine of unproportional kinds. I mean, these are hundreds of thousands of people going hungry, all because the United States want to put sanctions on Afghanistan. Now, we just pulled out of Afghanistan, and we was there for 20 years, and now we want to put sanctions on them? The United States will not give anybody a break. No mercy for anybody, especially if they got any type of skin color. Let's continue the video.
A 500% increase in child marriages and children being sold just so they can survive, and not a mention of it. Not here, not anywhere. No wall-to-wall TV coverage, no emergency humanitarian response, no special plenaries, not even a mention in this plenary. No Afghani delegations and no statements. My God, they must be wondering, what makes their humanitarian crisis so unimportant? Is it the colour of their skin? Is it that they're not white? They're not European?
Yeah. My skin is my sin. Like I told you last time, not too many times you will ever hear, matter of fact, in my lifetime, of the United States going to war with a country with nothing but European white babies. No, it's always the ethical route to kill brown and black people in the Middle East. And we got no problem doing that. We just bomb all the time in the Middle East and in Somalia. But you see Joe Biden ain't trying to step into Putin's area. They backed off. And then on top of that, the corporate media is always putting out to feel sorry for Ukrainians, but never for Yemenis, from Israel bombing the Palestinians, and like I said, the Yemenis for Saudi Arabia bombing them and trying to kill all the Yemenis. And the thing about the Palestine, when it comes to Israel, Palestine's population, 50% of it is 18 years and younger. So most of the people that they're killing over there in Palestine, Israel, is killing kids. Yeah. And bulldozing over their homes and annexing their whole entire land, trying to push them off into the sea. Let's continue the video.
That their problems come from a US gun or a US invasion? Is it that the decision to rob their country's wealth was taken by a despotic US president rather than a Russian one? Because, my God, all wars are evil and all victims deserve support. And until we get on that page, we have no credibility whatsoever.
Amen to that. And just like I said last time, the United States do not have any moral authority over anybody. We have started more wars and conflicts than any other country in the world in the whole history of the planet. Yeah, we got Hitler beat. We don't kill probably around about 6 million people. Not we, but the United States government has killed around 6 million souls. have been released from this planet from all the wars since World War II. 6 million people. And I'm going to tell you something, the United States do not care. No government cares. And 9 times out of 10, those numbers that I'm presenting you with, they underreported. Because there are after effects of war. You got starvation, poverty, homelessness, dislocation. And then we wonder why all those immigrants want to come to America. It's because the United States blew up their homes. And you wonder why there are radicalized terrorists in the Middle East. And let me give you a prime example, ladies and gentlemen. If I'm sitting in my home, eating dinner with my family, and then all of a sudden a bomb drops on the house and kills everybody but myself, I think that will radicalize me to want to go against the United States and to get revenge. So what I'm saying is the United States create terrorism. Terrorism then rise out of the sands by itself. For every action, that's an equal opposite reaction. And I guarantee you, most terrorists are in the game because the United States has ruined their life. Now, there's one more video I would like to play and comment on while we're playing it. Every video that I play will be for you, for fair use and for educational reasons. Now, this next video is from a channel called Amplex. And this video is called "The Day We'll Blame Russia." All right. So with that said, let me share my screen with you. All right. Like I said, the title of this video is named "They Will Blame This on Russia," and it's going to affect everyone. It's about a channel named Amplex, and I will leave the link descriptions of all the videos that I play on this channel at the bottom of the description box. So with that said, let's play the video.
The oil industry.
It's gonna go up. Can't do much right now. Russia's impossible.
President Biden saying don't blame him for the record high cost of gas, which is now $4.25 a gallon.
I can't afford to go to the grocery store anymore. I can't afford food anymore. Usually after work on a Friday, I go down to Chili's and get a cold beer, maybe a 2 for $20. But now with gas prices being the way they are, I can't even afford that.
It's crazy.
And before this little conflict between Ukraine and Russia even happened, almost 80% of Americans are living from paycheck to paycheck and can't even afford a $400 emergency. So before this even happened, those statistics were out. Matter of fact, those type of statistics were out before the pandemic. You had around about 78 to 80% of Americans that can't afford a $400 emergency. It's a damn shame. Let's continue the video.
I have 2 cars, so it's killing me.
Fuel prices have hit an all-time high, and on the 1st of April, the cap on what the energy providers can charge their customers will be lifted. I've already got a text telling me that the cost of warming my family will more than double in just 2 weeks. The whole situation in Eastern Europe, despite curing the Rona, feels distinctly connected to it. The West has been battered and bruised by restrictions over the last 2 years. Many have been pushed into poverty. Many businesses have gone under. A large chunk of those businesses that have survived have cut staff numbers or cut hours, dropped bonuses, etc. And now, while the people are on their knees but desperately trying to build a foundation so they can rise again, this happens, and life becomes even more unaffordable. To offer the solution, you need to create the problem. Now, the solution is the reset, but for people to accept the reset, you must first destroy their lives, what they consider to be their normal. In their desperation to survive, they'll be willing to try anything, and you just happen to have the answer. Buckminster Fuller said, you never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. Well, I don't think Klaus agrees, Buck. He's got the people.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is the precursor to the New World Order, where you got a cashless society and you got corporations taking all the business. Let's continue the video.
People to destroy their existing reality themselves. In this case, for many people, there's always been a tough decision to make. Do I heat myself or do I feed myself? Doing both isn't an option. Well, if the demons get their way, at least that choice doesn't need to be made anymore, because you won't be able to afford to do either. So, every cloud.
It's not only a great reset, it's a great deception. Replacing mum and dad, small businesses and private enterprises with big tech and big business. Democracy and free enterprise go out the window, totalitarian government control slides in through the back door. Those behind this scheme are adamant that there can be and never will be a return to normal, that life will never again be what it was prior to COVID. That is why they constantly talk about the new normal.
And ladies and gentlemen, that's not normal. It's not normal for a whole entire population in a country to be suffering. And like I told you in my last video, well, not my last video, one of those videos I made, but anyway, I digress. Like I told you before, they are trying to create a large gap, a big gulf between the rich and the poor. So the poor cannot do anything about their situation. When you don't have a middle class in between, that cuts off the poor. And the elite knows this. So what they're trying to prepare themselves for is a new world order. Let's continue the video.
The World Economic Forum meets every January in Davos. You will have heard of the expression Davos man. It refers to all the zillionaires and pop stars and popes and princes and politicians who meet every year to map out our futures. This year's Davos is very, very different to all the previous ones. The World Economic Forum, along with the United Nations, along with the International Monetary Fund, and along with any number of prominent, global and powerful individuals, including Prince Charles, together have jointly promised that the 2021 World Economic Forum will be used to introduce, via a vast network of connected big tech corporations, online activist movements and compliant local and national governments, something they call the Great Reset. This isn't some Sky After Dark fantasy conspiracy theory. It is a global commitment they have made to use the panic and fear generated by the virus as a means to reshape all our economies and laws and move to a new form of capitalism that focuses on net zero emissions. You might think this is a great thing. You might think this is a terrible thing. If implemented successfully, the Great Reset will undeniably and deliberately have extreme and possibly dire repercussions for every single one of your constituents. Already, the Great Reset is being widely advertised on posters and in ads across the UK and Europe. And no doubt.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is a form of propaganda, brainwashing. I call it tell lie vision. Because the tell lie vision tells you nothing but lies and gaslight you. Gaslight you. And on top of that, it basically just program our children into thinking certain frameworks of life or how to live life. And this is a terrible thing, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, if you really look at what this video is telling you, it's that the world elite has gotten together and coming up with plans for us. Now, most of these people supposed to be elected officials. Now, what they're going to end up doing is starting a world revolution. Yeah, that's going to be a world revolution against the elites if they keep this up. Because people like me, we're not going to take it. We're not going to take it at all. So I'm telling you, people, stop electing these fools. Stop putting people in power that already have power. Stop putting people in positions that already have a lot of money. They don't deserve it. 9 times out of 10, they don't even deserve to be in that position of authority. There need to be somebody in these positions that puts a check on authority. But we don't. All the authority investigate themselves, which is a biased thing. Especially entities like the police department or the military, or when there's a scandal in the government, there's no independent investigator or somebody to hold them accountable. It's always an inside man, somebody who's going to be biased about their judgment. Let's continue the video.
Will be here before too long. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy is just one of their marketing slogans.
That's what they think.
The plan involves replacing shareholders of big companies with stakeholders who happen to be left-wing bureaucrats and climate change zealots. Replacing mum and dad, small businesses and private enterprises with big tech and big business. Mrs. Kafup's share portfolio is out. Greta Thunberg's zero emissions are in. Democracy and free enterprise go out the window. Totalitarian government control slides in through the back door. But remember, it's not only a great reset, it's a great deception. Because in order to get everyday people to surrender many of the rights and freedoms we currently take for granted, the repeatedly stated aim of these organizations is to deliberately use it as an excuse, to use all the political and authoritarian tools, as Prince Charles puts it, that are currently being used around the world to eradicate the virus, such as lockdowns, exclusion zones, forced closure of businesses, heavy fines, making protesting illegal, and so on, but now to eradicate carbon emissions. Those behind this scheme are adamant that there can be and never will be a return to normal, that life will never again be what it was prior to COVID. That is why they constantly talk about the new normal. This is not me saying this. This is them saying it. The people with the power and the means and the obsessional desire to do it. And they keep telling us again and again precisely what they have in store.
Now is a historical moment, a time, not only to fight severe virus, but to shape the system.
We have a unique but rapidly shrinking window of opportunity.
This guy right here and the guy before him, they are very, very evil people. This dude right here, Prince Charles of Wales, this dude is nothing but an antichrist. Yeah, he's a antichrist. And he's probably a sicko. There are rumors going around that he was messing with Mr. You know who. They had the little island with all the little kids, flying them on the plane, basically running a pedophilia brothel on a private island. Everybody know who I'm talking about. Don't want to mention it. You know how they is about YouTube. They like to censor and take down your channel and everything. And that's another thing that the New World Order has on their mind. It's basically crushing dissent. Now, I don't told you in my video, the powers that be versus the power of the people, that no matter what level of protesting that you take it to, whether it's just be speaking out or grabbing your guns and anything in between, the government and the powers of be will come down on you like a ton of bricks. Everybody needs to wake up and come together. There need to be around about 10, 20 million people on the White House line telling Joe Biden, you either do what we tell you to do or get the hell out. It doesn't make any sense, people. You better wake up. Going to your job every day and working every day, that stuff is going to end real soon. You're going to be cut off. Like as if somebody took a sword and chopped your head off. People, get it together. Everybody needs to come in one accord and beat these tyrannical governments that's trying to take over our lives. See, last time I checked, I'm a grown-ass man. And as long as I ain't hurting nobody or doing anything to anybody, you got no business trying to tell me what to do, where to go, how to do it. But that's where they're trying to get it to. Where a normal citizen doesn't have any choice but to be subjective to the one world government. Let's continue the video.
Opportunity to learn lessons and reset ourselves on a more sustainable path. It is an opportunity we have never had before and may never have again. So we must use all the levers.
I don't know when he's talking about or what he's talking about, opportunity that we never had before. Who's we? Who's he talking about? He's definitely not talking about us. Let's continue.
We have at our disposal, knowing that each and every one of us has a vital role to play.
The Great Reset is a welcome recognition that this human tragedy must be a wake-up call. It is imperative that we reimagine, rebuild, redesign, reinvigorate, and rebalance our world. Rebalancing investment, harnessing science and technology, and advancing the transition to net zero emissions, all elements of the Great Reset.
And right there, he just lied to you. He talking about harnessing technology. The only people that's harnessing or hoarding all the good tech are the elite. Do you honestly think that they're going to spread this tech around what normal people and poor people can take advantage of? Of course not. They want to disconnect us from that, so we won't have any type of power to do anything about it. Let's continue.
Are fundamental to building the future we need.
And if it's still not clear, the book written by World Economic Forum boss Klaus Schwab himself, setting out precisely how the most powerful forces in the world are lining up to use the crisis as a pretext for introducing a new climate change-focused one world economy.
Now, let me stop it there. You see this? It says, this is what I want to talk about. It's creating a perfect storm for the Antichrist. Y'all see that? And his complete totalitarian control, totalitarian, I can't even say it right, totalitarian control. By totalitarian, I mean a global that is both centralized and dictatorial, require a complete subservience to the Antichrist, who will control a one world government, a one world economy, a one world government, and a one world religion. Do y'all see this? All this stuff is coming to pass. And these lunatics are looking into religious texts as if it was an instruction book, like, "Ooh, what do we do next to make this stuff come a little faster?" People, just about everybody who has any type of money and power are lunatics. They are crazy, and they're trying to kill us all. Let's continue.
That will strip away property rights and basic democratic rights. They are not hiding this stuff, they are shouting it from the rooftops. The World Economic Forum boasts on its website that the only acceptable response to the crisis is to pursue a great reset of our economies, our politics, and our societies.
Now we're just seeing the beginning of the results. This isn't the end. We're going to see much bigger increases in consumer prices in 2022 than we saw in 2021.
And the reason why behind that, ladies and gentlemen, is so that the elite is the only one that can afford anything. You got 0.0% of people owning more wealth than the bottom half of the whole entire planet. I don't even know how the planet even let somebody get that far, have that much power without a check. People, I'll tell you what, as far as human beings, we have fell completely asleep. These people put all these little things in front of us, distracting us with this Ukraine and Russia conflict, distracting us with all these gas prices and all this other news and propaganda. They down trying to distract us and keep us away from who is responsible for this by creating a problem and getting a reaction and then offering the solution. And I said this in my previous videos before. This is the formula that they're using. Problem, reaction, solution. Let's continue.
We're going to see probably even bigger increases in 2023. I mean, this is the tip of an iceberg. Well, prices are going up. I've been saying this for years. We've been underinvesting. And, the politicians have been trying to push us into this green direction prematurely. I mean, you have to let the free market dictate the type of energy that you're going to use. And if you're trying to force uneconomical forms of energy on the public, there are going to be ramifications. Now, certainly in the long run, humanity is not going to exist on fossil fuels forever, right? At some point, we won't use them at all. But I don't know when that point is. But I know that we're nowhere near it now. I know that the science and the technology hasn't advanced to the point that we...
Now, let me push back on the statement he just said. He said we don't have the means and ends to do that. I disagree. The powers that be, they have the technology to transfer us over into an economy where there is emission free. Climate change is real, people. And they're not going to tell you anything about it. When the last time you hear somebody saying something about climate change for real? When the last time you hear anybody talking about giving you a living wage or giving you health care provided by via government? You haven't. Everything else been in your ear, though. All the propaganda and the conflicts, the market going up and down, gas prices are flying up, even groceries. Everything is going up. I have a house behind me that was remodeled. And see, I pay around about $1,000 worth of rent. Not to tell you my business, but I pay about $1,000 a month for rent. But the house behind me is an exact format as my house. And it's been remodeled, renewed, and everything. And it was sold for almost $260,000. And then the person who bought it turns around and rents it out for $1,900 a month. Who has that kind of money? Normal people don't have that type of money. And if they did have the type of money, what foolish move to make to pay $1,900 on a rental property? Ladies and gentlemen, it's getting bad. It's getting real bad. And we as a people, we don't come together and start fighting this stuff back and stop believing all these things that they elite and these politicians and congressmen and kings and all these folks telling us. If we don't start believing in ourselves and stop listening to these crazy folks, we're going to be in a world of trouble. Let's finish up this video.
we can move away from it. But you know, I mean, at one point, I mean, all of our fuel was coming from whales, right? How would we get oil? We were harpooning whales, right? So, but we got oil and natural gas. We didn't have to do that anymore. So that was a big positive, I think.
And one other thing, ladies and gentlemen, scientists has been warning the world for 3 or 4 decades about climate change. So there is no excuse for where we at now. You just got greedy oligarchs gouging everything, and they won't get rid of the economy that runs off of oil and gas and everything. They could have been done this decades ago, and we would have had the infrastructure to have an emission-free economy. But unfortunately, greed wins the day. Let's continue.
People don't want to go back to the days of whaling to try to, you know, to get light. But at some point, you know, there's going to be more stuff in solar and wind, or who knows what they're going to do. But right now, oil and gas, coal, those type of fuels are still the most economical ways of generating the power that we need. And to the extent that we haven't been developing it as much as other countries, that is a problem, you know, and the governments have created these barriers. And that the result of that is a lower standard of living. You know, if we're going to go for the Green New Deal or anything like that, the public has to know that there's a huge cost associated with that. You can't just, you know, they try.
It wouldn't have been such a huge cost if we was the acted when scientists was telling us 3 or 4 decades ago about climate change. This wouldn't have been happening. Let's continue.
Try to market it as if it's going to be great news. We're going to have this Green New Deal and everybody's going to be better off. No, everybody's going to be worse off. That's the trade-off. You want to go green, you know, you're going to go poor, because you're not going to have the standard of living that you have when we're not green. But you know, the real problem is not going to be these prices going up as far as inflation is concerned. I mean, the big increase we're seeing in food and energy prices, this is going to cause a recession. This doesn't cause inflation, because as food prices go up, as energy prices go up, consumers have to spend more of their incomes on those necessities. They don't stop eating. You know, they still need to heat their homes, electrify their homes. They need to drive. So money is going to be spent, you know, at the supermarket, but that money can't be spent someplace else. And it's the reduction in other spending that ends up causing recession. Then, of course, the Federal Reserve responds to that by printing more money, and that's where the inflation comes from. Not from the isolated increase in certain prices, but from the fact that the Federal Reserve will end up compensating for that. In fact, in many cases, what happens is oil prices go up, food prices go up, and the Federal Reserve thinks, oh, we need to print more money so people can afford to pay those higher prices. And so, but now that drives the prices even higher, because we don't need more money, we need more food, we need more energy. But the Federal Reserve doesn't create any of that, it just prints money.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, I will leave the link at the bottom of the page. Let me stop sharing my screen. So, ladies and gentlemen, we all gonna have to get it together, because the Great Reset is coming. And the New World Order, oh man, they got the pedal to the metal. So I would like to say that one of these days, there will be a revolution. A revolution that the world has never seen before. But as a people, we need to tell these elites, you can't tell us what to do. And you're not gonna do these things. But I doubt if that even happens. They already implemented their plans way back. and everybody just fell asleep. So my purpose of basically telling you about all this information that I'm trying to pass on to you is to let you know to get ready, because the new world order is coming. And with that said, good night, good afternoon, good morning, peace. I'm out of here.